So this is the first attempt at a instructional video on this channel. Uh, I know it's a Norwegian channel, but a lot of this instruction I'm going to do in English. I'll try to be clear. I think you'll all understand it. This will be about tacking the Hobie cat, which is a very large point of discussion. We all have trouble with it sometimes, and so I thought this was a good one to do. Now, all the film that you see was not shot for instructional purposes. It was just shot for fun. So they're not necessarily perfect tacks at all. Some of it's right, some of it's wrong. But it's what I have, and this is what I can try to use to give a few pointers. So we'll get started. In the first clip here, you're seeing Truls and I sailing in 2005, about 6 meters per second wind. I want you to pay mostly attention to Truls in this shot. What the crew does with the jib is really important. So right in the first part here, we're just going to concentrate on him. We're getting ready now. I've told him, okay, we're going to tack, and then when I say I'm ready, I'll just tell him to go in. So he heads in. As he's going in, I'm starting to turn upwind, and as he's crossing over, I increase the pressure on the rudders to turn harder. When Truls gets to the other side, you're going to notice he looks up forward, and he's watching very closely the telltales on the front of the boat, which unfortunately you can't see. But he's looking to see that the boats come through the wind. In the moment he feels the boats come around, he brings the jib over. And what's important to note there is, one, how he does it. He's got one hand on the sheet to release it and the other hand on the other one to pull, so that they both happen basically at the same time. Also notice the jib is left fairly full. It's not pulled in very tight. We're not going very fast. You can tell that by the way the water moves by the boat. Now, as he goes out, he starts to pull the jib in tighter because our speed is increasing, and that can use a flatter sail. Very, very important that the jib, when it's first pulled in, is not pulled in too hard. Pulling the jib in too hard will not necessarily stop you from tacking, because it will still push on the bow, but it doesn't give you much forward drive, and that forward drive is critical. So a little bit full in the beginning, and then pulling it in tighter as you go. Now this time you can look a little bit more at me. Notice I stay out all the way until Truls is basically over to the other side. We're straight in the wind, and that's when I come in. I'm holding both the sheet and the tiller in one hand, so the other hand is free to lift myself with his handle on the trapeze wire to swing in. Well, this works really well, because as you go in, when you push on the rudder, the sheet is released at the same time. It's not in the cleat, so the turn, the sheet being released, and you coming in all happens right at the same time, and it's quite easy. In this next shot, you'll see this again, how I stay out quite long. The wind is now in the wind eye, coming in. Again, Truls is looking forward. What's important is that the crew is watching both the wind and the progress of the boat. I mean, if the boat is swinging well and you can anticipate it's going to go all the way through, you can release the jib a little earlier. If the boat's moving very slowly and you're a little unsure, keep it in a little longer. And again, not too tight in the beginning, and you'll do well. Helle and I, this year, what I want you to see here is the timing. Pay special attention to the way that the jib goes across in basically the same moment that the mainsail battens are kicking over to the other side. Notice the mainsail is very tight all the way in the turn, all the way to the wind eye. That's when it's released. I lift the boom a little with my shoulder to push it over. And there, I hope you saw that the jib and the main filled almost at the same time. Notice how loose the main is. It could be perhaps slightly tighter, but it's pretty okay. And only now that we start moving do I start trying to tighten it. I've already gotten forward drive from the jib, and that allows me to start tightening the main. If I have no forward motion, I can't use the rudders. Tightening the main will just put me back up into the wind. In this shot, you see a little bit about this, what I'm talking about, holding the main sheet and the rudder at the same time. It's got nothing to do with tacking exactly. It's sort of trivial, but the sheet is out of the cleat, and I just reach back and put it into my hand, and you notice then I can talk with my hands, which is unimportant, but that's the kind of control you can have when you know this move. It really helps in strong winds to be able to do that, to not use the cleat, but to use your hands, so you can always release it at any time. Okay, one more time with this particular shot, and this time you can pay a little bit of attention to what's going on at the back of the boat with me. We've already seen what a good job Hella did on that tack, so try to pay attention to what I'm doing with the sheet and the rudder. As you see, the sheet's very tight. Hella's going over, aggressive turn up against the wind. Notice my hands. I never drop the tiller at all. I've always got one hand on the tiller at all times, keeping the rudder slightly turned. There I cleat the sheet so it doesn't continue to run out, so it doesn't get too loose. Regain the rudder, and as the boat starts to move forward, then bringing the sheet in increments. I'm not all the way tight yet, and still not all the way tight for going upwind. As the boat's gaining speed, bringing it in slowly to increase the sail tension as the speed increases at the same time. And that'll be the end of this one. It's the first time I've done this, so I see that I got to work on it. It's a little bit hard to get in all the information in the clip as I want to, so that's something I'll have to practice. But you're free to send me questions through the channel if you want, and I can try to answer them with some later videos. So first attempt, hope you like it. Thanks. Bye.